Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday night. We are here for a quick live about this topic that came up in conversation today. So thanks for, is it Charlie or Carly? Sorry, I should have asked you how to pronounce your name. Thank you for bringing this up. We have talked about this a few times in this group, and there's actually a video about it on my blog too, but I wanted to dive into this because I feel like it can always be reevaluated a little bit. So I'm going to give a few seconds to make sure everybody has a chance to join in since there's always a little bit of a lag. I'll wait and make sure it's going. So give us a second and I'm going to get set up with the comments thingy so I can see who talks to me. I can only see some of you in the comments. Hi, somebody's watching. So just pop something in the little comments thingy so I know it's working. And yeah, so tell me, you guys who end up being here live, okay, so now there's 5 people. Good. All right, it's working. Good. So you guys who are here live, chat with me, say hi, let me know you're there, and also let me know if you have a favorite way of handling this particular thing. Somebody calls you and they just come straight out with the price question, and they just, they call you or they text you or message you on Facebook or wherever, email you and just say, hey, just looking for information about your dog training. I just want to know how much you charge. Seems to be always the thing a lot of people start with. It seems to be more common in certain geographic areas that people do that. I don't know why it seems that way. It might just be my imagination. I seem to hear it from certain people more than others in certain parts of the country. So give me, you guys who are here live, tell me if you have a favorite way of dealing with this. Maybe you've heard my answer to this before and the way I have always recommended handling it. And there's a few variations of that. And there's definitely some ways that you can accidentally mess it up, that you can accidentally say the wrong thing. And I'm going to break that down for you a little bit as well. So if you've seen the video on the blog before, there's a gnat. I haven't seen any bugs. I mean, it's winter. And there's, now that I'm sitting here, there's one accosting me and trying to distract the living daylights out of me, which is not very difficult to do. So if you've seen the video on the blog before, you've seen some of the tricks that I have for this, that does work a little better under certain circumstances. I'm going to get into that a little bit as well. But I want to know from you guys where your struggles are with price shoppers. If you get a lot of tire kickers, if you get a lot of people who seem to not like your prices or argue or be turned off by your prices, and it kind of makes you tempted to handle it certain ways. Like, one of the really common ways of handling price shoppers for a lot of trainers is to just avoid the question altogether. Just put the prices on your website, or just answer the question and be like, okay, well, if they're just price shopping and they just only care about the price, I might as well just let them run off, because they're clearly not ideal if they only care about the price. So some of you guys might handle it that way. You might just feel like, telling them, well, it really just depends, and I'm just going to customize something for you after I get to know you. And, so some of your answer might depend on how you actually set up your services. And if you don't have your services set up in the best way, as far as, when I say the best way, I mean the way that will make you the most money per client and get you the best clients and the highest, the ones that value you the most and the ones that listen to you the most. If you don't have your program set up the right way to get that kind of situation, then you will be more likely to get people who will tend to, make you be tempted to treat them, or to just give them the price right off the bat, and who will also tend to negotiate or not really value what you do, or make you be more tempted to undercharge or something like that. And a lot of that has to do with the way you have your program set up. So if you have your program set up a certain way, you will be more likely to mess up on this answer, on how to answer the price question early on in the conversation. You'll be more likely to just be like, well, we're going to customize something. It depends on your dog and how much you need and the problems that you're facing and things like that. So the problem is that it seems like a completely valid thing to say. Somebody calls you and says, how much do you charge? It seems totally normal to say, well, it really depends on what you need. It depends on how your dog is. We'll customize something based on what's going on. That seems like a perfectly reasonable answer, but that is absolutely the worst thing to say. And I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes. But first, I want to make sure my comments thing is working. So somebody say hi to me, please. I need to be interacted with. That's why I do these. I have to be, I need some social interaction here on a Tuesday night. Here, come on, say something. There's a bunch of you guys watching, so use the comments box, please. So let me know what you think about that, how you usually handle that, and I'll tell you the best way that I found. Thank you. Hi, Amanda. how to handle it from all the dog trainers that I've trained over the last 9+ years, and working on sales processes and doing a whole bunch of like mock sales processes. And hey, hi, thank you, hi. You guys listen, thank you very much. All the sales processes I've heard, all the kind of role playing that I've done with dog trainers, where I pretended to be the client and they were the dog trainer, and then I would call up just to throw them off. I would pretend to call up and be like, so yeah, I'm just calling about your programs. Tell me how much is your whatever program. I just want to know how much you charge. And they almost always, even though we talked about it before, would kind of be on their heels because they know it's me. And they're a little nervous, and they're like, oh, I forgot how I'm supposed to answer this. And they would just be like, oh, it depends on how much you need, but first tell me about your dog. And I'd be like, oh, okay, stop, back up. Let's redo that. So eventually I came up with an answer, and I was like, this is the only correct answer. Just use this. And of course it's not the only correct answer, but it does work really, really well. And I'll explain why. So the answer I always said, recommended that everyone give when you get a Price Chopper, is to say, it depends on how much direct help you prefer. And the wrong way to say that is, it depends on what you need. So it's very, very different, and I'll explain why. So when you first get on the phone with somebody, there's a few things you need to know about Price Choppers. Number one, they, a lot of times, a very high percentage of the time, will still be normal, happy, ideal clients that are willing to value you, listen to you, and pay you what you're worth. They just don't know what else to ask at the beginning of the conversation. So they seem like Price Shoppers, and they act like that's all they care about, but that might not be really what they're judging their decision. They might not be making the decision based on price at all. The other thing is, they may not even completely understand how to compare dog trainers. So to give an example, a few months ago, we were getting ready to leave our house in Florida, and the driveway was had mildew on it. So we wanted to get it pressure washed because it was slippery. I'd actually fallen on my butt one day, slipping on the green stuff on the driveway. So we were like, we don't want tenants and Airbnbers coming to our house and slipping on the driveway. So we called up a pressure washing company, and I figured, okay, all pressure washers are the same. They come with a machine, they clean the driveway, right? They're all pretty much the same. So naturally, when I call around, I ask them what they charged. But if I was wrong about that, and there was a huge quality difference from one company to another, there would be a big price difference as well. So when I call up and say, how much do you charge? If one company was $700 and one company was $25, that would kind of make me wonder, okay, well, maybe there's a quality difference. Maybe the $25 company comes and just pours a bunch of bleach on the ground and uses a hose and leaves. Maybe the other company uses this fancy stuff that makes my driveway look like it's brand new. I would start to figure out that there's actually a quality difference if the pricing is really that different. So a lot of times they don't know how to compare dog trainers. They don't know there's a quality difference. And they might use price in the beginning of the conversation to kind of start that kind of education thing going on. And then once they realize there's a quality difference, then they'll make the decision based on what they value, not just, what they're willing to trade the money on, basically, instead of just who's cheaper. So your assumption is, when they call and they're a price shopper, you assume that they're price shopping because they're just looking for the best deal. And that's not always the case. So with that in mind, what you have to do is now turn the conversation to where it needs to go, which is basically them talking about their dog. So Lindsay had commented, hey Bob and Sammy, Lindsay had commented on the previous post where I announced this live and said that her method basically is that, especially if it's like Facebook Messenger or text, she'll be like, thanks so much for getting in touch. Tell me more about your dog, and then I'll be happy to give you all the details about the programs. And then she talks about the dogs a little bit. And then she says, okay, that's great. Definitely can help you. The next step is for us to get on the phone. This wasn't her exact wording, but this is basically the process. The next step is to get on the phone, and we'll talk more about what's going on, and I'll give you some details about the programs. So basically you were saying, I will definitely give you the answer to that question, but first tell me what's going on with your dog. Tell me all about it. Are you struggling with this? How is it affecting your life? What do you wish your dog did that they don't do? What are you afraid will happen if nothing changes? All of those kind of emotional things, especially if you're actually in a sales conversation with them already. You answered the phone, you're ready to kind of give all the details. You can ask questions and pull them about the dog's issues, and then reassure them, and then schedule a consultation where then you will tell them about all the prices and everything else. So this is especially helpful if you know how to do that. You know how to do the sales conversation really well. You've already learned that here or on the blog or in my workshops or somewhere, and you know the 9 steps, and then you can know how to handle that conversation. Then you don't have to avoid the price question because you know how to handle it. So starting it off, if they say, how much do you charge? And you say, well, it depends on how much direct help you prefer. But first, why don't you just tell me a little bit more about your dog? Then they know, like, okay, well, first of all, it's going to be based on my preferences. It's not going to be based on how bad my dog is. So I can be honest with you now and tell you really how bad my dog is. That's the problem. If you say it depends on what you need, or we'll customize a program for you, then they will tend to think, well, I better downplay how bad my dog is and not really completely tell you the truth and really fully complain and really get to like the height of my anxiety and my agitation again about my dog's behavior and be able to make a wise buying decision because you just told me that it'll be more expensive if I need more. So I better kind of downplay it a little bit, which is bad for everybody. It's bad for you, number one, because you're not going to get a clear picture. Number two, it's bad for them because they're going to end up shooting themselves in the foot and not getting what they really wanted because they are trying to make sure that you don't accidentally charge them more because they complain more about how bad their dog is. You want them to complain and dump everything on you and get to the height of their frustration again about their dog in that conversation because they're more likely to make a decision that's better for them if they do. Because an emotional decision is always about preference. It's about what they want. And that's what you want people to choose. You want them to choose a program based on what they prefer. If they want more, if your programs are set up the right way, your bigger programs will have more direct help from you. And they will have more peace of mind and more convenience. It's a preference thing. So that means that you have the ability to get easy dogs into your biggest, most expensive program if that's what they want. If they want the attention, they want the long-term support, they want the peace of mind and the convenience aspects that you have built into those programs. So if you have your programs built the right way, it will no longer be based on need. It will be based on preference. And then that answer will make sense, obviously, when you say that. So it does help if your programs are set up the right way before you say it depends on how much direct help you prefer, but the answer still works, even if your programs aren't set up the best way. So your programs and how they're structured is a whole other topic that we've talked about in here tons. And if you need help with that, and you know, there's other videos in here and there's other blog posts and courses that I have that help with that, with how to structure your programs. But if you base everything on needs, if you say it depends on what you need, number one, again, they won't answer the question well. They will downplay their goals and their frustrations and their needs. And number two, they will tend to make the decision based on logic. You will tend to build a program based on needs only and make recommendations only based on needs and say, your dog is really just pulling. You really should just do the smallest program. That'll be enough. And if you backpedal like that and you just try to sell based on needs, you will end up undercharging and under-delivering because they may have preferred to get a program that had more attention from you, or more peace of mind, or any of the other things that might be in a bigger program. So that you can see there's a lot at work here. There's a lot of things that go wrong if you do this wrong. Even just, it kind of splinters off in a bunch of different areas of how you have your programs and prices and everything that end up making it so that you make less per person and you get more no's, because then they turn their decision into a logical need-based decision rather than an emotional what do I want, what do I prefer sort of decision, which is always a higher decision, more expensive decision and better decision, and they're better clients and they're more invested and a whole bunch of other benefits. And then you make more money per client as well. So it depends on how much direct help you prefer, it depends on what you need. So that's number one as far as how to answer that question. So, and now again, when people are price shopping and tire kicking, they're not always only caring about the money. So you got to shift the conversation back to what's going on with their dog, listen to them, reassure them, and then get them to an actual sales conversation, schedule a consult, whatever it is. If they push you a little bit more, there's another magic sentence that I've taught over the years that has worked really, really well. And that is to go ahead and give them a little bit about your prices, but not all the prices. So the next best thing to say if they push you a little bit more, like, can you give me a ballpark? Or can you just tell me what this program is, or how much this program is, or whatever? Then the best next thing you would say, besides it depends on how much direct help you prefer, is to say our most popular programs start at, and then you give your smallest program price. Or, like you could use your most popular program. Like a lot of you guys who have done the program creation workshops and stuff with me before, your most popular program might start at $875, but you have a little tiny program that you don't usually offer that is like $375. That's like your pocket program, if you guys know what that, you guys who know what that means. And in this case, you would use the $875. You would say my most popular program started at $875. So even if you have a smaller program that isn't really popular, you just pull it out of your pocket when you need it. Super small, mini, customized program, you use your most popular programs. And there's a lot of power in that sentence, because you're not saying my programs start at, you're not saying my programs range from, or whatever. You're saying my most popular programs, as in other people in your situation pay this much, at least. So it's a bit of social proof. It tends to make you behave with more confidence, even if you're not, even if you're still struggling with the confidence side of things in your sales processes, and your sales conversations. So it depends on how much direct help you prefer. If they push a little bit more, you say my most popular programs start at, and then you say, but I'll give you a lot more details about everything, and you can choose the program that feels like the right fit for you. So if you say that, then again, it helps remind them, this is really your decision. I'm not going to force this money out of you. It's going to be a preference-based decision. You can decide what you value more, things in the programs or the money. And everybody always has to make that decision. Everybody values things differently. They might value, a really expensive phone over going out to dinner with a friend, or whatever. Everybody values different things. So what they're willing to trade the money for is going to be different from person to person. And by giving them that power to choose that, you will tend to get people who are much more comfortable with the conversation and much more likely to value what you do and be willing to, be investing in your more expensive programs and a whole bunch of other things that tend to happen. It tends to make them trust you more. They will always, if they're in that situation, they will almost always make a more expensive decision, because they feel at ease to just choose, basically. You will rarely have someone who will try to pick a smaller program that is really under what they need. They have a really aggressive dog and they're trying to get away with your tiniest program. It's really rare. It's much more common for dogs who are super easy, for owners of dogs who are super easy, to choose the more expensive program simply because they want it, if you do your programs correctly. So with that in mind, if your programs are all, structured in the best way for you and your business and what you want to offer, then those sentences will work even better. But even if you don't, they'll still help. So that's basically the best way to handle price shoppers. I'm going to look at the comments here. And I want to see who said that. Whitley says, yes, talking about this at the Zoom workshop made a huge difference for us. We're selling more of our biggest package now that we've changed how we market, talk, sell it. That's awesome. Yeah, it makes such a difference to just change how you say certain things. There's like so many little like psychological things that go on under the surface. So I'm glad to hear that. That's great. This is one of my favorite things to teach, is how to talk to people and what to say and how to say things differently, and how to reword stuff. So this has been something that has like developed over years, all these different phrases. Let's see. Someone says, I'd say, hey, I'm more than happy to go through all those details with you, but at this stage, it might be more appropriate to learn about you and your dog to see if there's a possibility of even being able to help. Okay. So, that is a variation I've heard lots of times. I feel like it could be worded a little better, simply from the standpoint of that you are almost like interviewing them because you're not even 100% sure if you are qualified for their particular case. And so you don't want them to start off. It also might kind of make them be more likely to be like, well, my dog's really not that bad. He's a good dog, but, how many times do we hear that? He's a good dog, but, like they're embarrassed to badmouth their dog. Like they feel guilty about it. Just because they don't want to have anybody say, I can't help you. Like even if it's just you not being qualified, they will feel like less hope for themselves to have a professional tell them, there's nothing I can do for you. Like, your dog is just too far gone, So you might want to throw that part of the sentence out and just say, I'm absolutely happy to give you all those details. The next thing that we should definitely do first, though, is have you go ahead and tell me more about your dog and tell me what's going on. How's your dog acting? What's happening? And then let them talk, because you don't even need to justify why. If you just say, this is the next thing to do, this is the next step, then usually they're probably relieved, because if you have to understand it from their perspective too, that they probably, maybe, if they're like a lot of my dog training clients in the past, they've already called another dog trainer who's probably not that nice. And if that's the case, then if you are like, tell me what's happening, let me listen, what's going on, they're probably a little bit relieved, because the first thing they want, other than information, that's not even the first thing. They start off with that, with a question, but really what they want is to have somebody understand what they're going through, and have somebody listen to them and reassure them that their dog is not a lost cause, and their life is not permanently a chaotic mess with this monster that they wish they never got. So they probably want that reassurance to begin with. And if you start off with, like, I might not even be able to help you, then that might cause a few psychological issues in that area. But ultimately, if you just say, I'd really love to listen to you and have you tell me what's going on, they're probably going to be really happy about that. They'll feel like it's nice to get a little bit of empathy from a professional, especially if they've already talked to a dog trainer who's a little bit short with them and a little gruff and a little bit tough on them, and told them it was all their fault. So we don't have any jerks like that in this group, though. You guys are all sweet. Daryl says, listen up, changed my business model overnight. I don't know who said that last comment. I gotta refresh my page here and see, because my app doesn't tell me all the time who's doing the commenting. So Daryl, are you saying that they should listen to me? Is that what you mean? So Daryl was on my last workshop too, last month, the Zoom retreat in January, about how to package what you offer and how to create your programs and stuff. So he changed. He was on the live retreat, and he changed everything. So I wonder if that's what you're talking about. He only nips. That's what Whitley. That's what you say. He's not that bad. He's a good dog, but he only nips. I got one once. This was back when I used to say things the wrong way. Before I figured things out in my own dog training business, I got one once who, where it was two Rotties that just kind of play a little bit rough. So when a bloody fight broke out in my living room, it was a little bit of a surprise. Because that was downplayed a little bit. So yeah, I have had that happen before too. Daryl says absolutely. Yeah, Daryl is saying you must listen to me. You'll get that a lot in here. I try to be humble about it. I appreciate you guys. You guys are sweet. Yeah. So any other? I knew this was gonna be a relatively short one, but that's good, because like a lot of the lives I've done in here lately have been like crazy long, especially the website review ones. So I'm gonna give it a second and see if you guys have any other issues that you face with prize shoppers or sales process related things in general, and hit me with your toughest question. If any of you guys who are here live, if you have one, scroll back through and see if I missed any. Yeah, so, and in the meantime, if you don't know, there's a bunch of videos in here, and there's a bunch of videos and articles and things like that on the blog at Make It As a Dog Trainer, this thing here, makeitasadogtrainer.com, and you can go there and get tons of tips. There's a 9-step checklist for your sales process. It kind of gives you an overview of the 9 steps that everybody loves so much for your sales conversations, your consultation process, and that'll help a ton with this topic as well. And I have a brand new version of the marketing system for dog trainers that also includes teaching, program creation, and sales process. And that is also up on Make It As a Dog Trainer, along with every other program I have. So if you want more, if you want coaching privately instead, they're up there. If you want to do the retreat about learning how to write your website better, that's up there. That's closing soon, so make sure you check that out right away. A whole bunch of things. So everything is up on the website, including a bunch of free resources. So tons of stuff to absorb. Okay, I don't see any other questions popping up right now. If you're still typing, go ahead and keep typing, and I will catch you in the comments underneath this video. So let me know, you guys, and any of you who watch this recording, let me know how you usually handle this, and if you have a spin on the thing that I said that you want to suggest or like ask about, and say, well, does this work just as well? Is this a question or a response to that question that works just as well? One other thing too, since it is a common thing to put your prices on your website to avoid selling, to avoid having to answer the price question, that is a whole other topic, whether or not you should put your prices on your website. And it's the most commonly asked question in this group and in any other live I ever do. So I also have a blog post about that, whether or not you should put your prices on your website, because it depends on a few different factors. So go check that out on the blog. And we can also do a separate live in here about that to kind of reevaluate that as time goes on, because it's kind of, things are shifting a little bit in the industry and with what works and what works better. So we might talk about that again at some point. To give you a hint, usually you will only put your prices on your website if you are just getting too many calls. Or your prices are for things, for whatever you're offering is a very standard price, like a group class, and it's close to the normal expected price for a group class. If you are charging what you're worth, chances are you're charging a lot more than people would initially expect when they first land on your website until they get a chance to talk to you. And if that's the case, you will tend to weed out a cross-section of all of your audience by having your prices on your website, not just the people who only care about price. You will weed out some of your ideal clients as well. You'll just weed out a batch off the top, basically. So if you're just getting too many calls and you need fewer of them, putting your prices on your website is one way to do it. Otherwise, it typically, 90% of the time, works out much better to take your prices off your website and get better at answering the price question and get better at your sales process instead of letting your website do the selling job. Your website's job is to get people to contact you, not do all of your selling for you. It's just to get them to contact you. And if your website is doing anything else, like we talked about in last Friday night's Facebook Live about website content, if your website's doing anything else, explaining your training methods, grinding your axes, dealing with dog trainer wars, trying to get as much information out of your head as possible to talk about yourself so that they know everything before they even call, then you'll get fewer calls. You'll get a lot fewer calls. You might get no calls. So if you're not getting enough calls, that could be why, that you're relying on your website to do jobs that it's not meant to do. Your website's job is to get people to contact you, and then your job is to be good at having a conversation with them and answering the price question. Let me see here. Daryl says, I will have to share my story with you. Your retreat changed my business almost instantly. Please do. I can't wait to hear it, Daryl. That's awesome. We still have an implementation contest to do too, so you got to keep those stories rolling. So yeah, please tell me what happened. And that is kind of the point of those one-day retreats, so that you can learn everything, do everything while we are learning it, and apply it immediately. And yeah, that kind of thing is awesome, and kind of the point to have everything the results really super fast like that. So I definitely want to hear what happened. Please let me know. Someone else said, do you ever do a one-day Zoom workshop for package creation? That's actually what we did in January, and I will be doing it again because everybody loved that format. I usually I have an online boot camp that has a whole bunch of videos, and that's usually what we do a couple times a year. And I, release the videos, and then we do live Q&As, but it's spread out over weeks. And a lot of times, the people who join just never get around to watching them all. So I was like, everybody they need to get it all done and just get it all out of the way in one shot. So we did it as a one-day retreat, and it worked awesome. It was like 31 people in that retreat. And I think there was, what was it like, Daryl, wasn't it like 23 of you live that day? So a lot of the trainers were live on the day of, and we spent the whole day creating their programs and pricing them and writing them and describing them and the whole thing. And they were done. And then they could just go use them the next day. So that worked out awesome. So I'm definitely going to do that again. I do still have the recordings from the last one, so if you're anxious, let me know. But otherwise, just keep an eye out, because I'll definitely be doing it again. It worked great. Everybody loved it. I don't even know who asked that, because my thing's not telling me. You're welcome. Okay, so keep in touch, you guys. If you have any other questions on this topic or anything else, someone says, it was awesome. I learned so much. I had an entire page of notes by 10 a.m. Wow, that's awesome. That's so great. It was a lot of fun. That was Whitley. Yeah, it was an awesome day. I had so much fun too. I love you guys. And yeah, so stay in touch, and I will see you guys again in another live in a few days. And make sure, again, you go to Make It As a Dog Trainer to check out the other videos and the workshops that we've got going on right now, including the one-day retreat about website content, and I mention again because it's closing soon, so I don't want you to forget. And that's it for tonight. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.